Probably not because I just muted myself. Um, I forgot to turn on my camera. So let's go for that. We're off to a roaring start. There we go. Hey, everybody. It's welcome to the Chiefs Digest live stream. Apparently, I have lost my mind and forgotten how to do this after taking a week off from the live stream. Welcome, everyone. Hopefully, it's not too much of a surprise that we're back. Last week, it was a coincidence that I was not able to do the live stream actually. I've had a family illness the last couple of weeks that we've been dealing with, and I've been just had a lot of other things going on, so I had some conflicts that popped up. And then last week, I did have to cancel the live stream, and so coincidentally, that was the night that YouTube was down. So probably couldn't have live streamed anyway. So I guess it all worked out live. But exactly, Luttrell, we will do it live. And then I guess I so out of practice that I forget to turn on my microphone and turn on the camera. So hey, everybody, welcome to the show. It looks like there have been some other technical difficulties that the streaming platform's been having some issues with. So hopefully we won't run into any of those. But looking forward to the show tonight. Anybody have any questions, things you want to talk about? This is where to get them off your chest and get some answers. Hopefully, we'll all talk about it because I bet other people have the same questions that you all do. The combine is here. We are in combine season, and yes, because of the family illness, that's why I am not in Indianapolis this week. Unfortunately, would love to be there, but just did not work out. So we'll get back at it next year, I am sure. But keeping tabs on everything that's going on. Been on the phone today with some people in Indianapolis. Obviously got to watch and hear Brett Veach's press conference from earlier today. Some of the other press conferences going on around in Indianapolis tomorrow. The players all start to go through there, and I think obviously defensive line is going to be an interesting one to watch for this team. Thought it was interesting some of the things that that Brett Veach talked about today. So we'll, I'm sure, discuss some of those. Because I know that there have been some issues lately with the live stream going up on Twitter. I am just going to go ahead and post a link over there real quick. So I'm taking care of some business behind the scenes, but I'm trying to multitask and talk about everything at the same time. And I know you got your questions coming in, and we'll go straight to that. Obviously, last few days, the release of Mike Danna is not a huge surprise with his cap number. I thought that what Brett Veach said was very interesting as far as him testing the market and seeing what's out there, and not unlike a lot of things that Brett Veach has said in the past about players in similar situations. Hey, is it possible that Mike Danna comes back on a deal that's going to pay him less than the $9 million in bonus and base salary that he was due for 2026? Entirely possible. If there's just not a market out there and Mike Danna is able to come back at a cheaper number, a lower number, the Chiefs would entertain that. But they oftentimes will tell even guys that they've released for cap purposes, but players who are also, just ended their contract, they'll typically give them the message, say, hey, look, we'd love to have you back, just not sure we can afford you. So let us know before you sign anywhere else. And, we'll see if we can work something out, if we can match it. Hey, sometimes guys go and sign anyway somewhere else and don't give you the chance to match, but a lot of times that they do, and sometimes they can't find a deal and they come back and sign with you anyway. So I'll be interested to see what happens with Mike. There's a couple of other players who might be in similar circumstances. Drew Tranquil was a player that was asked about and mentioned today as well. I know we've got a question coming in about Jawan Taylor and his situation. So we are like finished typing this, and then we're going to go straight into the questions. I don't know if we're going to have anything about Patrick and his restructure tonight, but if you want to talk about, we can. Obviously, there's always the Travis Kelce situation, Tyreek Hill. There's a lot going on. So as soon as I can remember how to multitask and type and talk at the same time, we're going to get straight into it. But glad hopefully everybody can make it tonight and have some fun here. It is definitely going to be a busy week for the Chiefs. All right, so let's go straight to the questions. Do you still not have any sound? I'm hoping at one. Alex was talking about there being no sound. I know there's no sound at the very, very beginning. So, yeah, wish I could restart the show because the first minute was a train wreck. Chris, did I get up early for the gold medal hockey game? I did not. My sleep has been so out of whack lately that on the weekend in particular, I was just trying to get as much sleep as I could. I did wake up, and so periodically I was getting updates on my phone, so I saw that. And then went down to the hospital after the game. So I didn't get to watch hardly any of the game, but obviously very excited for both teams, for the men's and the women's team. I got to see a little bit more of the women's game, obviously, than I did actually the men's game. So that was very cool. But double gold, love to see that. It was very, very exciting. Alex, Matt, does it seem like Veach is hinting at talking love if he is there at 9? I think you could have, and from talking to people today, I've gotten the sense that you could walk away thinking the Chiefs are going to go about 5 different positions, maybe at 9. But running back and defensive line particular. And Brent didn't mention any names. He just mentioned positions. And yeah, I mean, he obviously addressed the running back spot, but he also went into the reasons about why, he wouldn't take a running back or a linebacker or a safety at a non-premium position. And, and obviously it's the same thing that we've been talking about here, that the premium position players, defensive end, defensive tackle, wide receiver, corner, they don't typically hit the market. So if you want one of those players, you've either got to draft them, you got to trade for them, or you got to overpay them on the free agent market. And a lot of them don't even hit the market. I mean, hey, Jalen Watson's going to be a premium free agent this year because just not a lot of corners hit the market. And I mean, Jalen Watson's a good corner. Is he a top 20 corner? I think the argument would be probably no, but he's might make enough money that might price him out for the Chiefs if he hits free agency, and that's obviously going to be a premium here over the next couple of weeks. Brett Veach did mention obviously that Trent McDuffie is a number one priority starting at the combine, talking with agents. Probably left unsaid there is a little bit of seeing what other teams' value of Trent McDuffie is and if there would be any interest in the trade market for Trent McDuffie. And didn't say a whole lot that I thought was different than the same language in talking about Chris Jones in the past, L'Jarius Sneed in the past. Obviously, it can go a lot of different directions. So when it comes to Love in particular, like I said, I pull up my transcript here and make sure. And then I know there was also comments about Downs. Guys love the process. Yeah, I mean, he made reference to the Notre Dame running back. Never mentioned in the Ohio State safety. He mentioned in the Ohio State linebacker. He mentioned some guys by the vagaries, but didn't actually say their names, which is kind of a Brett Veach thing to do. And I will say this. I mean, I love Brett. I mean, he is absolutely so candid in some of his answers, and sometimes he tries to be guarded when he feels like he needs to be. And sometimes there are smoke screens. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he's not trying to. He is honest, but at the same time, he's not going to be giving away the whole plan. So I do love that about him because at least the way he talks, and as I see Scott Veach speak as a new language, I love it. I mean, like I said, I mean, and there is one tell, and this is kind of a sneak peek to, well, I guess the next question we can go into that. I mean, Alex, I, I I truly believe that the Chiefs are in a spot where their view on Jeremiah Love is that yes, this guy is a difference maker. Absolutely somebody that could come into this offense and be a big piece that could give him those dynamic runs that they absolutely need. But we'll know for I think for sure what they're going to do with that ninth pick because of what they do in free agency. If they go out and sign a running back, I just can't see them also taking a running back at number 9. So if they go out and they get a Travis Etienne, even like maybe a Tyler Algier, obviously right now, I mean, it looks like Brees Hall is going to be a transition tag player, which doesn't prohibit maybe something getting done, but does make it harder to make sure that the Jets don't match and decide to keep him. Looks like Kenneth Walker's going to get the franchise tag, so won't be available. Um, you know, we'll know. I mean, like I said, if they sign Travis Etienne, another running back, acquire a running back on a big deal, they're not going to take a running back at 9 as well. They might take a running back later into the draft, but it comes down to value because again, high end corners, high end defensive ends, high end defensive tackles don't hit the open market. The only way that you can get them is by drafting them, and you can't draft them at 31 or 32 either. So you end up at 9, you got to take advantage of that. So I'm not ruling it out, Alex. I think that they absolutely consider the possibility that he's a guy that they would take, and maybe they can maybe that as a situation changes if they don't get the running back that they want in free agency. Maybe it changes if there's 6 guys that they want and Jeremiah Love's the 7th, and the other 6 are gone. Maybe they go that way. I think at 9 you have to consider the value of the position. So we'll see. But I thought that was Jeremiah Love a possibility? Yes. I certainly thought from hearing him today and some of the things that were said, maybe it's also I'm being influenced by things I hear behind the scenes as well, that I feel like defensive line is a much, much more likely target. But Love obviously in the question. Scott, I was heading towards your way with another Veach speak. You're saying Veach saying they have multiple options with Jawan Taylor. Is it no longer that he gets cut, trade, or bring back on a lower price tag? I mean, trade I can't imagine just because I think that if no team wants to trade for I think Jawan Taylor and then maybe have to extend that contract, rework it. I think they would rather play the game of chicken with the Chiefs and say, hey, if they want Jawan Taylor, they would rather the Chiefs cut him and they cut their own deal for a lower price than what Jawan's going to get. So I think trade very, very difficult to make since most teams are anticipating that the Chiefs are going to have to cut Jawan Taylor. What I thought was interesting, if you go to that answer, is, and he did at least mention Jawan twice in the answer, but immediately pivoted away and started talking about something else. That is a Brett Veach tell. So when he does that, it's typically that he doesn't want to answer the question, and mostly because he's not there to dump on guys. He's not there to say anything bad. So, you know, and you heard it with Mike Danna. I mean, it was very praised about Mike Danna. He's asked about Jawan Taylor, brought Drew Tranquil into the conversation as well, and then immediately pivoted, and oddly enough, to Mike Danna to talk about his release and how that went into it, and they saw him in the building and wanted to tell him. I mean, it could be just both those guys are in the same boat. Maybe a Drew Tranquil, likely a Jawan Taylor are going to get cut. But Brett doesn't want to have that conversation on a phone or text. I mean, he wants to do it in person if he can. Maybe they've already been told. That could have been something that was in the exit interview conversations with one or both of them. I'm still expecting that Jawan Taylor gets cut because Josh Simmons is the left tackle for this team if healthy, and they've got Jalen Moore. They're happy with Jalen Moore at right tackle. So I don't think I don't think it's going to happen. I'm pretty convinced that Jawan Taylor is going to get cut just because they can use the salary cap money in so many different ways, including keeping it to their own guys. Now, could he come back on a lower price? I mean, negotiate either before hitting his release, offer him a lower price deal, and see if he could come back on that. Um, Obviously, the Mike Danna option is there as well, that you release him and let it, if there's no market and he comes back and wants to sign with you, it's a possibility, sure. But I certainly get the indication that the Chiefs are ready to move on. They're happy with Simmons. They're happy with Jalen Moore. And and honestly, they're happy with Esapole as their number 3. They still have Wanye around as a possibility. They've got Chu Godric as another option as your 4th or your 5th tackle. I think they're happy with at least the level of talent that they got as starters and at the backups positions, even on down the practice squad. So, and throw Ethan Driscoll back into the mix too, because he will be healthy and ready to go and compete for that job. And I still love Driscoll's size and upside. Still a young kid, so there's still a lot of upside with Ethan Driscoll. So, I think there's just too much going on for them to keep that extra $20 million on the books, when I think they would rather try to keep some of their own guys. If that money can help them keep Brian Cook and Jalen Watson, that's a win. So I think that's more than likely the way that they go. Chris, do you think any actual news will come out of the combine? There's always a little bit of news. I mean, if you're talking about strictly Chiefs news, we'll get a little bit of insight into some of the players that they've talked to and everything, who maybe some players that they are interested in. We'll get some of the players on the podium who will say, "Oh yeah, I've talked to the Chiefs." Might not be entirely clear whether there was a formal interview or they just ran into somebody in the hallway, ran into somebody at St. Elmo's. You never know how those things work. But there's always a few things, some things that surprise you, Chris. Some of the measurements that come in, some guys faster than you think, or slower, or bit stronger than you think, less strong, weaker than you think. How about that? Let's go. Hello, everyone. I'm a professional writer. I use words for a living. So, I mean, is there anything earth-breaking that comes out of the combine? No, not really. But I'm the Brown. Sorry, I wish I'd gone to I'm the Brown. So maybe I should have sent you in my place with everything that happened. That would have worked out maybe for both of us. Daniel, what's your favorite taco spot for Taco Tuesday? Mm. Gosh, see, I've got a lot of favorite taco places. I got places I still need to try. So I do occasionally hit up the Taco Tuesday at Rancho Grande, in Liberty, because that's two crunch, or you get a buy one crunchy, get one free. Thursday is buy one soft taco, get one free. So those are both great taco options. If you ask me who my favorite tacos are in town, that's really, really tough. I'm trying to, gosh, there's the place I'm completely blanking on. Yeah, it's one of the places down on the side. It's across from Ponax. I don't know why I keep blanking on the name of it, but gosh, they got some really, really good tacos there too. I shouldn't probably start rattling off all the taco places, because then I'll leave some out and everything. But those are two pretty solid tacos. I mean, the deals at Rancho Grande are pretty good for the specials, and I'll partake of any of their specials. Um, Hopefully, I was seeing Luttrell and Alex talking about um, the volume. Hopefully, my issue at the very beginning wasn't the cause of it, but hopefully everybody's got their volume now. But I mean, I guess I have to go, if I go with where my feet go, Daniel. I guess Rancho Grande is what I'm voting, because that's the place where I have had Taco Tuesday the most as of late. And I say late. I don't go there very often, but often enough that I guess that would be my most prominent place to go. Uh, And I guess if anyone is having audio sounds, it sounds like the solution is to jump out of YouTube and come back in. Alex, why would you be interested in the Packers left tackle? And I know that Tyler had a similar question. Head scratching report from Lock and Forest saying the Chiefs will be heavily interested in tackle Rasheed Walker from the Packers. I'm equally baffled. I have not heard this from anyone else. I have no idea what would lead someone to come to that conclusion. I suppose if I'm Rasheed Walker's agent, I would love for some friendly reporters that I know to get the word out that maybe some teams are interested, and you can never go wrong with telling people that the Chiefs are interested in trying to drive up your client's value. But that would baffle me. I mean, like I said, I mean, unless the Chiefs have some concern, and granted, I mean, we know about the I don't even want to call it a red flag. It's not exactly that. Maybe we'll go with beige flag. Is that appropriate? With what happened with Josh Simmons last year. I mean, is there something that has developed that the Chiefs have a concern? Certainly doesn't seem to be injury related. I know the last time I saw Josh Simmons, his rest was coming along very nicely. I think he was even out of the brace on that thing. So looks like that's not an issue going forward. I've got no idea what would make anybody think that the Chiefs are interested in Rasheed Walker, and more than likely they're not. I mean, like I said, I just can't imagine anything that's leading the Chiefs to go down that road unless there's something that we don't know. So I'm baffled as well, guys. I do not have any idea why. And if the Chiefs end up signing Rasheed Walker, then the market for it, you could knock me over with a feather. But I'm thinking that's just, I don't know what that is. So, oh, Scott likes Rico Dwaddle. I'm telling you, I think there's a half dozen guys at least in the free agent market who could absolutely help the Chiefs out at running back and give them some of the explosion that they're looking for without having to use the number 9 pick, which you can use on a premium position. And, I mean, here's going to be the problem that Brett Veach may face, and this is going to be the conundrum, is that if you buy in, and maybe it's going to change, but, even if this gets to a point where there are 15 players that are a consensus first round talents. Right now, some people will tell you maybe it's going to be 10 to 12. And not everything's about a consensus. There's going to be players who are on one team's first round board and some that aren't. Some teams will leave a player off their board because they just don't have any need for that position. Might view them as a first round pick, but wouldn't consider taking them. The challenge for the Chiefs might very well be that they've got 8 players at a premium position that are on their board as first round picks, and there might be another 6 that are on their board that are a running back, a safety, a wide receiver, a linebacker, non-premium positions. And now what do? Well, if all of your premium position players are gone, if the eight players you like the most, Ruben Bailey is gone. Oh, and now I think I see what the problem is. Apparently my microphone is now causing a problem, so that could be an issue. Not quite sure why the battery is dead on that. I am not quite sure that I have an easy option for charging it as we go. So I might rely on you to everybody. Let me know how the microphone is going. If I need to take a quick break to get the charger for the microphone, I will definitely do that. We'll see if we can tough it out here without having to take a quick break, but we'll see what happens. That's the conundrum that you could possibly run into, is that that it's all of the premium players you like are gone, and now you got a choice between a running back like Jeremiah Love, or hey, Scott, Downs is the best player in your draft. Is Caleb Downs going to be your guy? I mean, that's where it gets tricky. And again, maybe that's where a trade down starts making sense if you're the Chiefs, because maybe there's going to be a player that another team would like to have. So It looks like we do have a little bit of an audio problem here. So I'll tell you what, I am going to take a very, very quick break to grab a charger for that. And I will be back. So hang tight, everybody. Hopefully this will take less than 30 seconds. Okay, I know that was longer than 30 seconds, so I apologize for that. I tripped. It threw me off there. Sorry, everybody. Hopefully that solves our problem. Turning into the disaster podcast. We have like these once a year where everything goes wrong. So hopefully that's all this is. We'll just have the disaster podcast and live stream, and this is it. If Nick is watching, I'm sure he is absolutely cracking his head up at this. So, all right, let's get where I left off. Tyler, oddly enough, talking about the Josh Simmons injury that we were just discussing. Any update on Josh and his recovery? Is the team still very high on him and excited about his future? Did we ever figure out why he left during the season? Hasn't been for a lack of trying about finding out exactly what led to Josh's departure during the season. Everybody that's involved with it has been pretty tight-lipped. I mean, I have heard some things off the record that I do have some faith and trust in, but because they're off the record, unfortunately, I can't share those with you. I can tell you, I mean, it's nothing of a health nature regarding Josh, but yes, the Chiefs are, I mean, extremely still high on Josh Simmons. I mean, they do believe that Josh Simmons is their solution at left tackle for the next 10 years. I have not heard anything in the last couple of weeks that would change that opinion of him, that they still are that high on Josh Simmons. So I have no reason to believe that they believe otherwise. That would make the only reason why I think that the Chiefs would be interested in any type of a free agent at tackle. That is just not what they're interested in. Could they be interested if there is a tackle of that they feel is of value in the first round? Well, yeah, they could be, because, again, they have Jalen Moore under contract for one more year at right tackle, and then they're going to need a right tackle opposite Josh Simmons. So, could they be interested in drafting a tackle there? I mean, that's a premium position as well. So wouldn't surprise me at all if the Chiefs ended up going with a tackle in that spot, especially, considering that they had the issue with Josh last year. I mean, it would just be more Josh Simmons insurance in case anything did happen, that you have someone that could potentially play left and right at a high level. And if you get, a first round talent that you can put opposite Josh Simmons on the right side with what you already have on the interior of that line, you would have a line that could push some people around. And with Eric Bieniemy returning, might instill that kind of fire into an offensive line that could push some people around. So that would be really interesting to me. But like I mentioned, the last time I saw Josh, he was out of his wrist brace. Said he was feeling really good and pretty good, and that was the very end of the season, last week of the season. So no, it looks like everything was progressing well with his injury, and we'll see the next time that we see him. Hopefully, maybe the Chiefs can make him available during the first round, during the opening sessions of the phase one of the workouts for the offseason, but certainly during OTAs, hoping he can be available. I would like to make sure that it's not until training camp that we hear from Josh Simmons. Would like to hear from him before that. But you never know in the NFL in the offseason. There's not strict rules about how many players being available. Teams just have to make some players available, but they don't have to make everybody available. So we'll see, and maybe he'll pop up somewhere here on an interview. Hope so, because it would be great to be able to hear from him and just kind of what's going on with Josh right now. Steven, if David Bailey is there at 9, do they draft him and ask him to gain 40 pounds so he can set the edge? Bailey is going to be a really interesting one. I mean, that's the guy that, I mean, if I think it certainly looks like could end up being the consensus number 2, at worst number 3 edge rusher in this draft. His size wise says, 3-4 that plays, just exclusively on the edge and isn't necessarily a drop back kind of guy. Certainly, he could, I mean, at his size, he could do that. I mean, teams could coach him to do that. But it's going to be very, very iffy. I mean, I'm trying to remember. Is he 6'4", 250? Is that what he's currently listed at? At least in college, 6'3", 250. So I have a hard time believing that he's going to be listed at 6'4". So 6'3", 250 is probably where, 6'3" is going to be where he's listed. It's more likely to go down than to go up. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be listed at 6'4". So your only fear is that he would drop down to 6'2", which would make him even more of a linebacker. But say he's 6'3", 250. Well, Frank Clark was 6'3", 265. And I know people, that probably doesn't make anybody feel better. Even though Frank Clark was absolutely nails in big leverage situations, but I know Frank kind of underperformed to a lot of people's expectations in KC, so I can understand you not wanting to go down the rabbit hole again of another 6'3", 265 guy. But if Bailey shows up at the combine and weighs in at 260, 265 and still looks like he's got the explosion, then yeah, I could see it absolutely happening. And, maybe that is a possibility. I still think he's undersized for what Steve Spagnuolo likes and what Joe Cullen likes. So I worry just how that's going to work out long term. But again, these are kind of guys that you see consistently, Nick Benito is in that size. Von Miller is that size. There's plenty of other Joshua Uche just came off a great season, and that's the poster child for why this might not work out for the Chiefs. And I'm the Brown pointing out that Frank had long arms, which we'll see where David Bailey's arm length comes out. If he's got 32.25-inch arms, that's going to be a problem too. So, he's a player that's really interesting because he's got the skill set. It's just the size that's the drawback on him. And, here's the thing is that he's kind of the defensive line equivalent of Trent McDuffie, which Chiefs didn't have a problem taking a chance on Trent McDuffie. And so could they end up taking a chance on David Bailey if he's there? And let me put it this way. If the Chiefs go defensive line and Ruben Bain is not available and the Chiefs take defensive line, I'd probably bet they're taking David Bailey, unless they go with a tackle. But Steven, you're going to cause me to lose all my street cred here. But this is mostly just because, one, I'm cheap, and two, I guess I don't have any friends. I've never been to St. Elmo's. I've been in St. Elmo's. I've walked around and everything, but I'm not making reservations at St. Elmo's during the combine and bringing, a group of people there or anything. Nobody that's got reservations at St. Elmo's is inviting me. So, hey, Brett Veach, Chris Shea, anybody like that's listening and you want to invite me next year to St. Elmo's, I'm definitely going there. I did get some St. Elmo's seasoning from the family for the holidays a few years ago. It's great seasoning. So would love to have a steak there sometime. I would obviously go to St. Elmo's if I had a chance. I just haven't been invited yet or had the chance to go to St. Elmo's. So losing a lot of street cred right there. And your follow up, what is your favorite restaurant in Liberty? Um, Gosh, my favorite. Gosh, that's a toughie because I got a lot of haunts. I mean, Rancho Grande is probably my favorite Mexican place. We don't have. I don't. I'll be honest. There is an Italian restaurant here that I'm just not a fan of. Um, and it's not Olive Garden. I mean, sure, we're all fans of Olive Garden, right? Right, aren't we? I mean, I'm a 54th Street guy, so that's pretty good. Let's see, and I don't go out that much, so I guess that's my other problem. I did finally go to, it had been a long time since I've been to Three Halves Brewery, the barbecue, down off the square. That's a pretty good place. If you need some barbecue in Liberty, that's your place to go. Um, let's see. I feel like I'm just forgetting something completely and totally obvious here. Man, I've been to Red Door, and it's a great place and everything. It's just, a little too chainy for me. I'm trying not to get, the chains, the big love here and everything. What are other I don't know K Machos, and that may not be in Liberty. But gosh, somebody's going to mention something in the comments that'll probably be like strike a chord with me, Stephen. But I mean, most of what I eat is barbecue and Mexican, occasional pizza, and obviously local chain Minsky's is really good, so you can't go wrong with that. Gosh, I can't think of. I mean, I'm probably missing something obvious here, Stephen. I just feel I'm going to feel bad later when I think of something. Uh, Davis, you want to meet Matt? Hey, you can meet me. Hey, let me know. And you know what? One of the things that you some of you have asked about before, and I would like to try and do. I'm hoping to even find a sponsor that we can maybe do this with. Is to do the occasional live Q&A out on the streets of Kansas City somewhere. At a restaurant, maybe a place that we could set up and everything, and do a little meet and greet. So maybe that can be on the agenda sometime. But hey, I feel bad because, and I think it was Nikki that we tried to do this with during the season. If you want to reach out to me on social media, and if I can try and meet you before a game, I would love to. I can't remember. There was something going on. I'm almost afraid that maybe it was that Detroit game that Josh Simmons was AWOL on, that I couldn't meet up. But Davis, anybody, hey, if you ever want to try and meet before a game, anything like that, I would love to try and pull it off. And Stephen, the Landing would be a great place. I mean, I need to reach out to them. Maybe we could do it there. And Landing is a great place. I haven't been to Landing in a long time, but that used to be my go-to spot for watching Mizzou games back in my younger days. So. Let's see. Whoa. Nikki, just talking about you there. There you go. Thank you. Oh, that's right. It was the Clark Hunt game that he was doing his press conference. That's right. Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate you solving the mystery there. Great timing. Daniel saw Bain won't participate at the combine. Are his arms really that short? I mean, I don't know if anybody really knows how short his arms are. I mean, usually measurements like that don't typically sneak out until they actually get measured at the combine. I am sure that they've been measured at college, so somebody probably knows that. I don't see a lot of arm length listed with college recruiting, and even then, that's a couple of years old and everything. Let's see. I know Bailey. I mean, Bailey's just small. I mean, it's not going to matter what his arm length is, but I know there's a lot of rumors out there, and you don't have to type obviously very long in Google before Ruben Bame's arm length. Allegedly sub 31 inch. I mean, we'll find out. And if he doesn't show up to the combine for medicals and measurements and everything, that will be a little bit of a red flag. But at the same time, he's also a player that you watch the film and you don't care. You don't care about the arm length, and it's limiting in some ways. But if you've got everything else, if you've got the skill set, you got the football IQ, you've got the moves, you got the technique, you got the footwork. If you got everything, and your only knock is that your arms are sub 31, it's not going to matter. Nobody's going to care. And like I said, I mean, the only thing that would really worry me is that if his arms are so short, he doesn't show up at the combine to at least get measured and participating at the combine. I mean, if he doesn't go through drills, anything of that, I mean, I wouldn't either if I were him. And I could go on a diatribe about that. I did it on Twitter the other night. Oh my goodness. Jesus, I mean, at least I was only 5 minutes late seeing this one. Have the trade rumors have died down though? Um, I would say that they're kind of still at just a low boil, and most of it's because we're at the very early part of when there would start to be some discussions as far as a potential trade involving McDuffie and everything. Um, you know, because I'm trying to remember. I think I was talking about this with somebody the other day. I mean, I think that like the Alex Smith trade, started coming up at the combine was when that was first discussed between the parties. And, so when Brett Veach said that Trent McDuffie was going to be the number one discussion at the combine, and he referenced it in terms of the contract extension, that's not the only reason why it's going to be the number one discussion. I mean, he's going to run it. I mean, the agents will be there from Trent McDuffie, so he will talk to their agents. He will meet and talk to other GMs and staffers from around the league, and we'll get the idea if there's any interest in him. So at this point, and let's face it, I mean, I don't even know if I could call it rumors, Jesus, because at this point, really the discussion about a potential Trent McDuffie trade has been speculation. Speculation that it makes sense that if the Chiefs don't feel like that they can get a Trent McDuffie extension done, a trade now makes sense because you can get more value for him. Now, I made this argument, I think it was with Locked On Chiefs earlier today on their podcast for Wednesday. If you're the Chiefs and you just want one more year of Trent McDuffie to try and get you a Super Bowl, and you feel like that he is important enough that you need Trent McDuffie to make this a Super Bowl team this year, then yeah, I mean, hold on to Trent McDuffie. You next year with the franchise tag involved, you could tag him and trade him. You can let him go as a free agent. You're probably going to get a 3rd-round pick. And that's what you got for L'Jarius Sneed. That's probably what you would get, the value you would have for a year from now with Trent McDuffie would be a 3rd-round pick. His value right now, I mean, I think it's good if you could get a 2nd plus. You could get a 2nd and a good day 3 pick. 2nd and a 4th would be really good value for Trent McDuffie. 2nd and a 5th wouldn't be bad. I mean, I think that's absolutely doable. Daniel Jeremiah, talked about maybe the Cowboys being interested with their number 20 pick for Trent McDuffie. And if that were the case, if the Cowboys were interested in Trent McDuffie for 20, I think I'd take that right now if I'm Brett Veach. But I understand. I mean, if they truly believe that, that this is just a reload for 2026 and that the Super Bowl is absolutely on the table, which I believe, hey, Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback and he's healthy, then every year is that. Every year is a chance you can win the Super Bowl. The question is kind of for this year is going to be, is Patrick Mahomes going to be healthy enough to win you a Super Bowl? If that's the case, then I could make the case, an argument that keep Trent McDuffie. We'll find out here. I mean, this is when it would start heating up, Jesus. I mean, and you still have a while, because if you're trading Trent McDuffie, you're trading him for picks. There's a lot of teams that may not want to pull the trigger on a trade, and that's why they usually happen after free agency starts, because teams kind of want to figure out where everybody's kind of going and settling and where free agents are ending up. Why it gets closer to the draft, at the deadline, and if you're going to get draft picks, then you want to kind of again, deadlines make deals, so that's why a lot of these trades end up happening just before the draft, that week of, that day of the draft. when you're on the board, I mean, a lot of things can happen. So I just like I said, I think it's more that the rumors haven't really been rumors to this point. It's been speculation. We'll see. I mean, if the Chiefs can get something done pretty quickly before the beginning of the new league year, then nothing at all. But if the Chiefs don't get an extension done with Trent McDuffie, then I think you're going to see the trade talks start to, and the rumors maybe start to heat up a little bit. Infopocalypse, I think I skipped your question. I apologize. I think I saw the Jawan Taylor part and thought we had talked about that earlier, but you asked a different angle of it. Do you think we trade Jawan Taylor? Seems like sentiment has gone from the Chiefs are cutting him to maybe able to get a third. Any rumblings on him? Again, I think that there is little chance of being able to trade Jawan Taylor. Because other teams know that the Chiefs have Josh Simmons, they know they have Jalen Moore, and know that there's not really any reason for the Chiefs to keep him and that they can save $20 million by walking away. And at this point, at age 29, and with his knee issue, is Jawan Taylor still a $20 million player, or for the Chiefs since 27 million, since that's how much his cap hit is going to be? I mean, I'm assuming that the Chiefs are still not planning. No one has told me any differently. I mean, at the end of the season, here just what I guess we're almost 2 months now from the end of the season. 6 weeks ago, I mean, everybody in the organization was pretty convinced that Jalen Moore was going to be their right tackle in week one, all things being equal, and there's no place for Jawan Taylor. And Brett Veach, and I still go back to that answer, and I'll have to put that up if I can. Brett's answer when asked about Jawan Taylor was to start talking about Mike Danna, which, like I said, is usually a giveaway that he doesn't really want to tell you what he's thinking about Jawan Taylor. And I also brought Drew Tranquil into that conversation. And he did two parts. I mean, like I said, the first, when he was asked about Jawan Taylor, says his name and then immediately starts talking about releasing Mike Danna. Then he mentions him again and then starts going into, hey, got to get under the cap still. And there's up to $60 million in convertible contracts that they can use to free up more cap space. But they don't want to do all of that. And they've got some of their own free agents that they would like to try and keep. And they've got some other things to do. I don't think that spending more money at tackle right now is the number one thing on their agenda. And I've heard zero rumblings that anybody is interested in acquiring Jawan Taylor. And if you could trade him, I don't think that it would be for a third. I mean, I think it would be a lot less than that. I could be surprised, but I think other teams, especially because if you're the Chiefs, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it quickly. You're not going to hold on to Jawan Taylor just for the sake of holding on to him. If they're going to walk away from him, they're going to do that sooner than later. So he'll be on the market. If no one tries to come get him, and like I said, I don't think anyone's going to come get him. I think other teams would be willing to wait it out and see if maybe they could get Jawan Taylor for less than $20 million a year, or a contract that fits them better than what the Chiefs would be. I mean, he's got 1 year for $20 million left. Maybe another team would be fine with that. I certainly don't get the sense that's what the Chiefs want to do. So I still think, even after what Brett Veach said today, I would still anticipate that they're going to go forward without Jawan Taylor. But crazier things can happen. But again, even with the ability, they have ability to free up some cap space and more cap space. What's a better use of that $20 million? Is it keeping Brian Cook and maybe a Jalen Watson? I think you'd rather have those two guys than Jawan Taylor, considering that you've got Josh Simmons and you've got Jalen Moore. You're happy with Esapole. Like I said earlier, you got Ethan Driscoll and Shu Godric that are in the mix as well for being your fourth and fifth tackles. So I think they're okay there. So always appreciate that. And Jesus, I think I forgot to thank you for your super chat earlier. So thank you for the super chat question. Always appreciate that. And at least I was only 5 minutes late on that one. Still didn't see the notification. Darn it. Yeah, Joe, I have not heard of K Machos. I'll have to check that out sometime. Apocalypse. Haven't been there, but as someone who has lived on the beach for a long time, is it really possible for a shrimp cocktail to be that big of a deal? I think you're probably hitting it on the head with the maybe for Indiana thing. I have not had the shrimp cocktail. I have had the like the seasoning for the shrimp cocktail and their seafood seasoning. So maybe that's a little bit of it too. I mean, I'm sure they have it flown, the shrimp flown in every day. So there's that. I mean, it's a high end enough place, and I'm sure they're having fresh shrimp flown in every day. But I'm with you, Infopocalypse. I mean, I'm pretty snobbish about this kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of seafood unless I can see where the food came from. So unless the ocean's right there, yeah, I once you've had fresh seafood, yeah, you really can't go back to not fresh seafood. So I'm with you there on Apocalypse. Brian, why should you be able to franchise tag a backup and it not apply to the starter as well? The Jets could cost should be about $75 million a year to play. Keep away with Hall. The tag ought to pay the running back 25%. Um, something. I mean, maybe I'm just not understanding it, Brian. I kind of get what you're saying about why should you be able to franchise tag a backup. I mean, I'm missing something with it. Not being their backup. I mean, what am I missing there? Gosh, they have another. Why am I? I mean, not that I pay a lot of attention to the New York Jets backfield. I gotta say, I can't. I'm just trying to picture what would make him the backup for the Jets. Unless you're being once again, Brian. You sometimes you work on a level with sarcasm and irony that I just sometimes am slow to get, even though I certainly appreciate it. So I apologize if I'm just being incredibly dense. Um, who else do they have there? Yeah, I'm not sure I get that one. Isaiah Davis, unless you're just a big Isaiah Davis fan, maybe that's what I'm missing. So I'm surprised. I'm just interested in somebody's whipping out the transition tag here potentially. I think the Chiefs should consider maybe the transition tag on a guy like a Brian Cook, possibly. I mean, at least keep it open. Daniel, if Ruben, Bain, and Bailey are gone by pick 9, they will probably be. Who is your third option outside of Jeremiah Love? Ooh, good question. Gosh, that seems to be the really big names and everything. And I'm assuming I'll give you the assumption that Arvell Reese is not there as well. Not the, again. I mean, it's for the Chiefs. That would not be a premium position, even though the best linebacker on the board. If they gonna say if they sign Brian Cook, then I think that makes Caleb Downs a little bit less likely, even though as noted earlier, he is a really good player. Probably one of, if not the best. He and Arvell Reese are probably the two best non-premium position players in this draft. I know there's going to be a lot of you who will want me to say Carnell Tate. I'm just not a fan of how Carnell Tate would fit in with this offense. I could be completely wrong. I just don't see it. And you're saying Bain and Bailey are both gone, and Love would still be an option unless he is gone as well. Oh man, I mean, honestly, in that situation, I'll be honest. I mean, I would be hitting the trade. I would be hitting the phones trying to see if there's anybody else who wants to move up, especially if Love's available. Maybe there's somebody willing to move up and get Jeremiah Love. Now, again, granted, I mean, this is you also have to have the assumption that the Chiefs have signed a running back in free agency. If the Chiefs haven't signed a top end running back in free agency, and Love's there at 9, and Bailey and Bain are both gone, Chiefs are taking Jeremiah Love. I mean, that just seems pretty, uh, pr- just too much of a good luck thing. And that's one of the reasons why I don't think that the Chiefs will probably go down that road. I think that they will sign a premium running back. I mean, could it be that they sign affordable guy like a Tyler Algier that maybe that they could just get by with and give them a little bit of the explosion and then hope that Jeremiah Love falls to them. I just think there's too much of a chance of him being gone, whether it's the Saints or someone else in front of them that takes him or trades, because everybody's going to think that maybe the Chiefs are interested in Jeremiah Love and somebody wants to jump in front of them. I could see all of those scenarios. So if Maine, Bailey, and Love are all gone, I mean, you could take, I mean, if he's there, Caleb Downs, you could take him. Like I said, I would probably stay away from receiver at that point. I just don't know if there's a receiver that I think that would be fit for the Chiefs at 9, but I would be working the phones. I mean, I would be trying to make that trade, and that's another one of the conversations that the Chiefs will have starting here at the Combine. May have even already started it. They will know what every team in the league would pay for that number 9 pick. That if there's anybody who's really interested in it, and they will have an idea about what teams would be willing to, to move up to that spot. So they'll know. They'll have an idea, and therefore they'll know who to call. But I mean, moving back from 9, if the player that you want is not there, should absolutely be a consideration because the Chiefs need more picks. I mean, they don't have a ton of picks this year. They need more. Brian, the franchise tag should not be applicable to backups. I mean, honestly, you can put the franchise tag on anybody you want to. I mean, I get you, Brian, but that's also one of the reasons why the franchise tag is big. I mean, you're going to get paid like one of the top 5 guys at your position, so that's going to put you in the ballpark. I mean, you're still going to get paid, and it stinks for some. I mean, it stinks obviously. Like for running backs, I think it really stinks because, I mean, some of the tags are not that big of a deal. I mean, it probably stinks for kickers and punters too. There's some other spots that, yeah, it's just I get what you're saying and everything like that, but that's one of the vagaries of the rule. I mean, you can put it on anybody you want to. Of course, putting it on a backup quarterback would not necessarily make a lot of sense unless you're planning on that backup becoming your starter immediately. But if you had enough money under the cap, I suppose. Oh, let's see. Where are we going? The shrimp cocktail made the Food Network. Well, there you go, Nikki. Let's see, Daniel. Not a fan of Tate. I mean, he looks like a good receiver. I just don't know that he really fits in with the Chiefs and what they do really, really well, and particularly with their current set of receivers. So I think there are some good receivers in this draft. I think there's a lot of depth in this draft from what I've heard and what the expectations are. So I think you can get, and again, I mean, if you're the Chiefs, I don't think you can wait until the 6th round to maybe the 5th round, since you don't have a 6th or a 7th. You just can't wait, to be picking a player that you need to make an impact immediately. If you want a receiver, if you want a running back that's going to make an impact in year 1, it's got to be pretty early. I mean, it needs to be probably day 2 at least. And I think there's going to be some good talent on day 2 at both running back a little bit less. I mean, this is not last year's draft. Jeremiah Love is everybody's one and only, consensus first round running back. Obviously Price from Notre Dame. There's a couple of others. It's the 2 kids from Nebraska. I mean, it is not a very deep draft. I mean, but I think Jerry Price from Notre Dame is the consensus. I'm thinking about the Penn State kids. I mean, it seems like people are cooling on them a little bit. You got Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. That's probably like a 3rd round pick, maybe. And a lot of this will change. I mean, we don't have the perfect information on all these players yet, and there's going to be, and Jimmy's question kind of like the comment kind of really comes in. You people picking your picks with 4 weeks to go. Not even 4 weeks. We're like 8 weeks away, Jimmy's. Like Mike Tyson level ridiculous. I will say one thing I haven't done a mock draft yet, mostly because I'm kind of like Jimmy's. I don't really like doing mock drafts until after free agency because free agency changes everything. I mean, once again, if the Chiefs sign a running back, there's no way they're taking Jeremiah Love, especially if it's a high price running back. If it's an affordable running back, maybe he's still in play. Chiefs are definitely going to be in the market for defensive line help. So it could be an edge, it could be a tackle, it could be anybody. I guess, and and some of the things that Brett Veach said today again about team building from the inside and on the line, it would apply to the offensive tackle as well. So that could be in the ballpark. So um, there's a lot of things, Jimmy. You are completely right. We're in sync on this one. That um, it's just yeah, it's there's a lot of things that can change between now and the draft. So uh, you'll support any side of keep him away. Oh, Jimmy is why? Because he catches the ball on Carnell Tate. A lot of guys catch the ball. I mean, my my issue with him, I mean, I guess it's two prong really, as far as the first round pick goes. One, I just don't see a lot of diversity in his routes. I mean, I think he could be his size. I feel like he should be a little bit more dominant. And again, he's probably the one guy who does stand out a little bit for his size and everything, and that would alone make him somebody that the Chiefs should absolutely consider, because that's something that they don't have right now, outside of like a Tyquan Thornton, which I mean he was going to be a free agent, and I'm not convinced that the Chiefs are going to be able to re-sign him. And I get he's a deep ball guy. I mean he's got that in his bag, but again, I look at what some of the teams were doing in the postseason, and they have receivers who are doing things that the Chiefs have guys that just do not do and can't do. I need a guy that can run every route in the book, and I'm just not convinced that Tate does it. So could be on an island, Jim. And if he's your number one receiver, I get it. He's going to be the number one receiver for a lot of people, and maybe I'll look stupid here a couple of years from now. I just I don't know if he really just fits in with the way that the Chiefs would use an X like that, and what an X receiver like that they could really. I mean, at their best, I mean, Sammy Watkins was in that role, and I mean, Sammy Watkins to me, he was a deep threat, but he could do it. I mean, he could run every route in the book. I mean, and even again, I mean, that wasn't enough to, be a. I mean, he was a very good receiver, but and I'm not going to argue that the Chiefs could use a Sammy Watkins, but I wouldn't take Sammy Watkins, the guy that he was for the Chiefs. I just wouldn't take him at number 9 overall. I mean, I think in some drafts, Carnell Tate might not even be a first round pick. I mean, I think it's just a little bit of an indication that the top of this draft is really, really thin. And there's like I said, there's other drafts where he would not be the number one overall guy. So Daniel does mock draft, so he doesn't want me doing any. There you go. Hey, I don't think I've exactly lightning round it tonight. I think we have just we've hit the nadir. There's a lot of things going on right now, so May does not have as many as you are here. But if there's any questions, last call. Anybody else has anything else that they want to talk about? Pop on in. We'll wrap up here in a little bit. Appreciate everybody sticking through the technical difficulties tonight. Like I said, hopefully that was a disaster show, and we'll put that behind us. And next week we will go on a streak of nothing but greatness. I do know that even though I am not in Indianapolis this week, unfortunately, some of my good friends, the Soren Petro and Todd Lebo over at 810, they are in Indianapolis this week and getting some interviews. So definitely check them out. Mick Schaefer and Matt Foster from KSHB 41 are over on they're in Indianapolis as well. I was still reading Jimmy's comments. Jimmy, I love you, man, because you can just tell me how wrong I am, but you appreciate that. So I think that's cool, man. We always have great conversations, and you're never a jerk about anything. We disagree about things all the time, but you're always cool about it. I love having conversations with people like that, and that's one of the reasons why I love everybody who comes on here. Every once in a while somebody breaks in that's a problem child, but we don't have that very often. So that's why I appreciate about all of you. But definitely check out 810 Sports Radio 810 and KSHB 41. They're going to be having content coming from Indianapolis all week long. Sunday, Nick and I will be back with 41 is the Mic, and we'll recap what we learned, what we heard from the combine this week, what we saw, and share with everybody. So thank you all very much. Bobby coming in with the who is running back one and wide receiver one week one for the Chiefs. Ooh, that's a really tough question. It's a plurality for me. The Jets tagging Breece Hall complicates that a little bit. I still wouldn't. If he indeed gets the transition tag, I would not still hesitate that the Chiefs may go after him. I mean, obviously the problem is the Jets could match it. That would be the issue. And I think it'd be really tough for the Chiefs to structure a deal for Breece Hall that would make it something untouchable for the Jets. And, you can't really put poison pills in there and everything these days. But I think my plurality choice would be Travis Etienne. I think that's, like I said, it's not, to me, it's not like if there's a 60% chance. I'm saying like maybe 38. That's kind of the ballpark. I think Etienne's in the conversation. I still think Breece Hall's going to be in the conversation. Jordan Love's going to have to be in the conversation. But, honestly, I mean, there's going to be some others too. I mean, Jadarian Price could be in that conversation. Maybe it's another rookie running back. I think it's a little bit wide open, and we'll get some clarity during free agency. I mean, if the Chiefs, like I said, if they go out and they sign a high end, costly running back, that's your guy that's going to be week one, and they're not taking Jeremiah Love. If they take somebody that's more affordable, then maybe we'll see what, like I said, like a Tyler Algier goes for. We'll see what happens there. With the as few picks as the Chiefs have, I just don't think that they're going to be able to try and make a trade. So I don't think the Seahawks are trying to trade Kenneth Walker. I think that they will tag him for the purpose of keeping him and trying getting something done with him long term. I still feel like that there's a half dozen guys that it could be, maybe even more than that when you consider maybe a draft pick, maybe it's a player. I don't think it's going to be anybody who's currently on the roster, though. I don't think it's going to be Isaiah Pacheco, who I don't think, not technically on the roster since he's not signed. I don't think it's going to be Brashard Smith. I don't think it's going to be Damian Pierce. I think it will be somebody else that's not on this team right now. So wide receiver one, I want to say that it's going to be Rashee Rice because I don't think that there's anything that's going to come of that lawsuit that's going to change that. But you never know. The Chiefs are being pretty guarded right now as far as talking about Rashee's status and what's going on with him from a legal standpoint. I think you have to be concerned, especially because if you never know what the NFL is going to do, even when it comes to civil suits, and there's not necessarily going to be a quick resolution to this thing. Maybe there is, maybe it gets dropped. Maybe there's a settlement. Maybe we won't know the terms of it. There's a lot of things that can happen. It's either Rashee Rice or it's Xavier Worthy. I don't think that the Chiefs are drafting anyone that's going to come in and you're just automatically going to say, okay, that's the number one guy. Like I said, I don't think that the Chiefs are going to draft a guy like Carnell Tate. I don't think they're going to take anybody that early. I could be surprised. But I don't think that they're going to draft anyone that you're just going to say, okay, that's their new number one receiver. So it's either Rice or Worthy, and I have to say I'm assuming it's going to be Rice. I don't think at this point that he's going anywhere. So if he's on the roster, he'll be their number one receiver. Man, Jimmy's I know it wasn't really a question, but man, you hit on something that's big time concern for me. You keep drafting hybrids and you end up with a team full of Chamari Connors. And I say this, obviously the Chiefs think a lot more about Chamari Connor than most Chiefs fans do. And I say that anecdotally because I don't have a approval rating. Maybe there's one over at Arrowhead Pride. I don't know. I don't have an approval rating on Chamari Connor, but it feels like that Chamari is a guy that just is the wrath for a lot of ire from Chiefs fans. And yet, I think if you ask Steve Spagnuolo, like, who are his favorite guys on his team, Chamari might be the pick after Nick Bolton and Chris Jones. I mean, he might be the next guy up on that list. And I don't mind Chamari. Chamari is at least a hybrid corner safety. I don't have a huge problem with that, but I have a problem with some of the others. And you're talking about in the same vein here. I mean, that's going to be what is Jeff Bossa? If Jeff Bossa can't, if they can't figure out if he's a linebacker or a safety, and I don't think he's a safety. The Chiefs certainly don't see him as a safety. They see him as a linebacker. If he's not big enough to be a linebacker and is just a special teams ace, that's frustrating. I mean, Jamari Connor is, like I said, I mean, he's at least, and like I said, defensive back hybrids don't bother me. Chris Ron Wallace doesn't bother me. I mean, those two guys are, two sides of the same coin. They come at it from a little bit different direction. Jamari safety that plays a little corner, and Chris Wallace is a corner who kind of plays a little safety. Yeah, I mean, Jaden Hicks may be that too. I mean, he's big for he's not. I mean, I was going to say he's big for a safety, and he's definitely not big enough to be a linebacker. But I agree. I mean, the Chiefs do have a penchant, and Veach does have a penchant for hybrids. I would throw Noah Gray into that conversation because I know from covering Brett for the last 10 years and everything. He's been trying to find Evan Ingram. He's been looking for an Evan Ingram type for a long time. And the fact of the matter is that there's only one Evan Ingram. There's only one 6'3" tight end who does what Evan Ingram does, and it's Evan Ingram. So you keep taking shots at 6'2", 6'3" tight ends, you're gonna get guys who are good but not great at a lot of things. Jimmy, you nailed it. So I'm with you right there. Probably wrap it up here with Daniel. You got a question? Well, why didn't Noah Williams play more? Really, I mean, a good question too, but I think a lot of it just came down to early in the season, he had a lot of inconsistencies, and they wanted to see him play. When he did get extended play, they didn't want him to struggle and to have problems. And I mean, I thought it was really impressive. Here it was week 2, and they had him out there against the Eagles, and he's making plays against their guys downfield. But then, he also in maybe the first quarter, first 5 weeks of the season, also had some ups and downs. So I think that they just wanted him to get a little bit more comfortable, get his feet under him. He started playing more at the end of the season, and and I don't have a problem with that. I mean, especially the way that they were getting good play out of Jalen Watson. They didn't, they're not going to take Trent McDuffie off the field, but I think that by the end of the season, and unfortunately because of the losing streak and the other issues that they had by the end of the season, it didn't matter anymore. But I think at the end of the season, if they were completely healthy, their best secondary was Noel Williams and Jalen Watson on the outside and Trent McDuffie on the inside. So they got to that point, and they were. You make a good point there. I mean, I think that, and this is the thing, is that the Chiefs, they don't like some guys to go out there and fail. Some guys can handle it. Some guys can't. And I'm not saying that Noel Williams is a guy that can't, and not even saying that the Chiefs think that. It's just that they default on the side of, I mean, you've heard Andy Reid say it 100 times, that he wants to put guys in position to make plays, and blames himself when, takes the fall when he says that he didn't put him in a spot to make plays. And like I said, some players need it. Some players need to have success or it's going to get inside their head. Some don't. Some can go out there and make mistakes and learn from them and bounce back immediately. That might be another reason, with Jaden Hicks. I mean, Jaden Hicks frustrated. There's no doubt he frustrated Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt this year, that they just felt that he wasn't as consistent, and that he was making some mistakes that he shouldn't in year two, and that was bothering them, and that's why he didn't play as much, even though it sure looked to me like he was a really good player when he was out there. And he kind of gets overlooked a little bit sometimes, and he's a mystery to me, because he's a guy that Hicks is that I feel like plays better than the Chiefs give him credit for. But who am I to argue with Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt? Those guys have forgotten more about football than I'll ever know, and they still know more about football than I'll ever know. All right, promise this is the last one we'll wrap up with Jimmy's. Who's your biggest underachiever for 25? Hicks, Jones, McDuffie, Pacheco. I'm looking at it kind of a couple of different ways, Jimmy's. I mean, if you're just talking about for what they got paid, Chris Jones. I mean, you would love for Chris to still be at the level that he once was, but he's just, I mean, let's face it. I mean, time is starting to catch up with him, and and he didn't have a bad season. I mean, he ends up with 7 sacks as an interior defender that gets double teamed most of the time. That's actually not bad. I mean, he did put up some numbers late that kind of got him to that spot. So that's a little bit of the issue. But I think that if you're the Chiefs, you would love for Chris Jones to still be the guy that he was. He's still a really, really good player. Is he the best at his position in the league anymore? Probably not. So I would say, just purely based on how much they made, it would be Chris Jones, because you wish you were getting more from him at this point with what he does make. I I don't know if I could call, I mean, and this is just a personal opinion, I wasn't expecting anything from Isaiah Pacheco this year, because I just felt like, from what I saw in 24, that the injuries had caught up with him. He's not the same player that he was a few years ago, and certainly not his rookie year. Things are just, I think, caught up with him. Um, I'm tempted to say, even because like I said, I thought Jaden Hicks played better than Steve Spagnuolo clearly did, because they were hard on Jaden Hicks last year. McDuffie, I mean, I thought last year was the first time I thought McDuffie really showed any signs of not being a high-end corner, that there were some teams willing to challenge him, who were willing to put bigger receivers on him and just challenge him that way. So I, 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 I'm tempted to say McDuffie, just because I think it was his first year that he's taken a step back. Um, he showed some weaknesses for the first time. That was disappointing. If he had been as good as I think he had in 23 and 24, would have taken care of some problems, but not everything. I mean, you can't put it all on Trent McDuffie. And like I said, I mean, Hicks, maybe it should be Hicks, because he didn't, take the big step up in year two. But my really maybe harsh take is McDuffie, because I just McDuffie gives you worries, because I think that some teams figured out what his weaknesses are, and now they're going to challenge him and try to exploit those going further, and that just makes him, more valuable as a slot corner. But he's still arguably your best corner, so you're going to put him on the outside too. Thank you, Jimmy. I try, so thank you. I tip my cat to you as well. Thank you. Like I said, you always ask to challenge me and ask good questions. All of you do, so I appreciate that. All right, Joe, you get the last one, the third last one. If the Raiders draft Fernando Mendoza, will they be contenders to win the AFC West? Maybe I'm underestimating Fernando Mendoza, but only if Denver, Kansas City, and Los Angeles get nuked. The Raiders are so far away from being able to do anything. I'm not sure if they drafted Fernando Mendoza, Jordan Love, Carnell Tate, and Ruben Bain, that the Raiders would be playoff contenders or winning the AFC West. that organization is just light years away. They need more than a quarterback. They need everything. And I don't know if, well, yeah, Daniel, with that offensive line, it's not going to be a help. They could probably use a couple of first round picks on the offensive line too. But nope, I'm sorry. The Raiders, they got a ways to go. That's the most. I do try to be fairly, yeah, I do try to be fairly optimistic sometimes, and at least give people the benefit of the doubt. But the Raiders are, I mean, so bad that no, I mean, you could give them 6 first round picks, and I mean, look how bad they are, and they've got freaking Max Crosby on that team. I mean, I could tell him to say no. Well, that's why Nick is I'm so much better when Nick is around to be my producer and to keep me in check. So, everybody, thanks for joining us for the show tonight. We will catch up with you later. Have a great week. Enjoy watching the combine and checking it all out this week. Nick and I will see you this weekend, this Sunday on 41 is the mic. So, good night, everyone. Take care.